Thanks for coming, everybody. We're going to give it about one more minute and then we'll get going. Cool. Well, I think we're ready to get going. So, Miles, you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure. Welcome to another installment of the After Hours workshops. We got a really good one today. A lot of good peers and great things. And well, I feel like I could introduce everyone, but I wouldn't do them justice. So I'm just gonna start with my main man, Junior. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? See what's good?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Gustavo. I also go by Junior, pronouns he, they. I am a senior here at the UO in advertising with a focus on art direction and design. I think I'm going to talk about me, but also I did indoor recess with Lizzie, and I'm currently doing like a mini internship with the agency Elephant for experience design, which is really fun. So I can kind of go into that too if we want. Happy to be here.
All right, Lizzie, you want to take it away?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Lizzie. I'm a senior this year and I'm into strategy. My pronouns are she, hers. I also did indoor recess and it was super fun and I'm really excited to talk about it.
All right. And last but not least, who wants to go first for late bloomer?
My name is Hunter Reed, he, him. I'm a part of Late Bloomer with Josh and advertising major focused on art direction and design.
Sorry, me and Hunter live together and I could like hear him talking from the other room behind us, so that was weird. I'm Josh, he, him. I just graduated, so that's kind of weird coming back now. I graduated with advertising. My focus is project management and art direction. I also focus in photography and videography. And we are the Late Bloomer Project. Yeah.
All right. Well, there's a lot of people, so we can go through the questions pretty quickly, but I just wanted to start off with how did you start your side hustle?
We can start.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've said this story a lot and it's kind of annoying to us, but I think it's really helpful to other people still. Especially, I don't know how many of you are going into creative strategy this year or what your focuses are at all, but I think it's a good point to make is that like, even though classes may be boring or seem like a lot at the time, like they can amount to something if you make something of it. So 2 years ago when I was taking creative strategy, which is the advertising course that everyone has to take, we were doing the United Nations project in my group focused on responsible and sustainable development in clothing. And at the time I had met Hunter and Malcolm. Malcolm couldn't make it today. Malcolm actually transferred to University in Chicago. But at the time we were kind of all into clothing design, but didn't really have anything to do with it. And it kind of coincided at the same time that I was doing this project with sustainable clothing development in the fashion industry, and learned a lot about kind of how really just how like shitty the industry is to the environment. And as many of you probably know, I don't need to explain it to you, but like one of the statistics that like sticks with me the most is like 70 pounds of clothes a year per person goes in the trash just in the United States. So that was kind of one of the things that I was like, this is an issue. And I think it helps being in Eugene. It seems like it's a bit more of an issue that's harped on, maybe more passionate than other places, but I think it's a great place to start. But anyways, we started kind of thinking, well, if we're doing all the screen printing and design at home with nowhere for it to go, and we had this concept of pushing forward a sustainable movement, how could we like marry the two and create something that has meaning and could be something that we love at the same time? And that's kind of where the Late Bloomer Project came from, is this idea that we could do our art and our clothing design and really have like something behind it and some meaning that could be, you know, like not only sustainable in the clothing, but sustainable in the message that's going to be, you know, kind of pushed forward for years and years. So yeah, that's kind of the short story though. I mean, like that's just kind of how it got started, and then we kind of pushed it farther than that, but we can get into that later.
Awesome. Hunter, do you want to add anything or should we head over to Lizzie next?
Yeah, I think you can move on. He wrapped it up pretty good.
Awesome. Lizzie, you want to take it away?
Sure. So I started seeing indoor recess at the beginning of this summer, and it was like these other students who like founded it. I think they were all graduated this last year in 2020, and they were all like, "Oh, we just lost our internships. Like, what are we gonna do?" So then they came together and they started making it up. And the first client I didn't get in for, but I got in for the second client, which Gustavo also did, and then Mo did it the session after me. And my client was and it was just like, I don't know how I got started with it. I just like wanted to do something with my summer. I already was kind of planning on probably not having an internship this summer because COVID kind of started happening. I already had a lease in Eugene, so I was like, I'll probably just be hanging this summer. So then I just got kind of like lucky with finding something that was pretty flexible with like what I was already doing this summer. And then I really liked the client. It was really fun to do it. It was Twitch for Minecraft, which was a blast. Not a gamer, but I learned a lot about gaming. So that was really fun.
Awesome. Gustavo, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I think maybe for like the specific question, I didn't necessarily like start anything. Well, I mean, kind of like Lizzie and I are in a student group together called Taking Up Space. So it's like a group for BIPOC, which is really cool. So that is kind of like creating its own hustle in its own way. But specifically for MAPE, which is the Multicultural Advertising Internship Program, it's a long name, sorry. It's just a program. It's like one of the best programs out there for students of color. And I had not heard of it until Deb, who we all love so much. She actually like put me onto it, and I just didn't have the confidence to actually see through the application. But I had a couple of friends who graduated just last year, Z and Andy, who also pushed me to do it. And I'm so thankful that I did because it was one of the best programs it's probably the strongest program that's kind of pushed me in my own career, I guess. I wouldn't have been able to do the kind of internship I'm doing with Elephant without MAPE. And it's kind of just helped me really frame myself as a person and like just produce better work. Like I'm super thankful for that. And if there are any students of color here that are really interested in that, then definitely connect with me because I'd love to put you onto that and help you with the application. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. So for our next one, we just kind of wanted to know what gave you all the drive to find more to do outside of school, because the SOJC is a great program that gives us lots to do and everyone is so impressive with their side hustles. So we just kind of love to hear about how you guys all figured that out and found the passion. Maybe Hunter this time because I'm picking on you. Go for it.
All right. Yeah, I guess so. Just like where did we find this drive, right? Like outside of class and stuff. I guess just like because our side hustle in a sense is clothing and stuff, and you don't really get that from the SOJC. I mean, like you get design and stuff like that, but we wanted to take like that lesson that we learned within the SOJC and kind of apply it in the own way that we saw fit and like kind of meet our passions. And I think just like when you really truly find something that you're passionate about, like no matter what you have on the side happening, like you're gonna want to do that. Because like it's obviously just because you're passionate about it, but it also kind of like gives you a break from all the like hustle and bustle of like what you're like totally used to and stuff that like you literally have to do. Kind of having that freedom to do something that you just purely want to do is just super motivating.
Maybe I'll pick on Lizzie next. How about you?
Oh, okay. I guess how I like found the like drive to want to do it is like, as I kind of mentioned before, like I didn't have an internship, so I wanted to have something that I could like put on my portfolio for this summer, even though I actually haven't put any of them on my portfolio. But that's a story for another day. And I also just like I was really hoping to be able to show work for a client that was really cool and that I was excited about. Even though I didn't know the client when I applied for Indoor Recess, I still thought it would be really fun because they like really hyped up who the client was gonna be. And I was like, oh, it'd be really cool if it was like a big brand. And it did end up being a big brand. And I got to, I guess like another thing that drove me about it was I got to connect with people from all over the country. My team was all over and I really value the connections that I made with them.
Gustavo, you want to take it away?
Yeah, I'd say for me, my drive definitely comes from my identities. I think those are central to who I am. I'm first generation Mexican American, so that I feel like that's an answer enough for me already. But I'm also first generation college student, and that's just a super specific experience. I've always been kind of like the studious kind of person and that sort of overachiever. So when I started kind of learning more in the SOJC, I kind of recognized that there weren't so many spaces for me. It is a white dominant kind of institution like most colleges are. So I kind of wanted to start exploring outside of that. And after kind of creating that club with the friends, I just started gaining confidence and I just kind of, I wasn't sure if I would be able to get these opportunities, but I kind of swung anyways and I landed them, which is really awesome. So yeah, definitely my identities are what keep me going and want to get me far.
Yeah, totally.
I think I
Um,
have something to say real quick.
go for it.
Yeah, I was just thinking like from the start, it was just a matter of like using like there's like so much time that you have where you're just kind of sitting around. I think people get a little overwhelmed with school and maybe are a little over dramatic sometimes in my opinion. I think like no doubt there's a lot to school and you want to put 100% into that, but I think like when it comes down to it, you should make sure that you're not just doing school because you think that's what you should be doing. I think from the start when I transferred into U of O with kind of a specific idea that I just wanted to, I guess like with a lack of better phrase, like I just wanted to do like I just wanted to do me, you know, I didn't want to like really work for anyone. Um, that's just always kind of been my goal. So just like taking advantage of that time and just carving out like act like you're gonna work for yourself. Like what would you do if you were working for yourself? You know, really think about what do I love? If you're going towards something that you don't love, it's gonna be even hard. I mean, obviously it's gonna be hard, but like I think it was just important for me to find something that I loved and followed it. And luckily it kind of came at the same time. Like everything kind of came together, but I had to work for it, you know, and I really had to utilize my time. So yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a perfect segue into our next question. I was wondering, so like, especially in 2020, there's a lot going on. And how do you guys balance like your school and your work and your passion projects like all together? Don't all jump at once.
You don't?
Yeah, I was gonna
But
say I do.
yeah.
Same.
There's
just-
like yeah.
I was gonna say just the lack of sleep, like being really tired.
Yeah, it depends on the week for me. Some weeks are all about like my job outside of school, and some weeks I focus really heavily on school. I would just say like grades aren't everything. I mean, not to say like don't try in school, but stop bragging about your grades if you're in the SOJC because it doesn't really have much to show for later on.
I think like
As-
too, I think what I
as-
figured out is just like being in like a creative industry. I'm not even like in the industry yet technically, but like even just like what we've done with Late Bloomer, I found out like during school is you're gonna have nights where you're up until 3 like working on stuff, but you're also gonna have days where you don't do anything at all, you know, and you just kind of think about stuff. So like managing your times, it's never gonna be on a set schedule, and you kind of have to get used to that, which is I think hard for some people more than others. It was definitely hard for me at first, but when it's something you're excited about, it's not hard to like switch around your schedule. You know, I'm always up to move stuff, always up to put more time here or there. Like you just have to make those sacrifices. But I think that's something everyone can do when they love what they're doing.
As an instructor, I just want to put in what Lizzie said is right. No one's ever going to ask you what you got in my class. You know, like that's not on the final exam that Deb talks about. What is the work in your portfolio. So that's the key is like if you have to slough something off, realize like I'm sloughing it off now, but I'm gonna need to come back to it if it's something that is gonna end up needing to be in my portfolio to show I can do something. The other thing is what Josh was saying is like, if you love something, if you're doing something you're excited about, you don't mind staying up to 2, 3 in the morning to get it done. When I got my BFA in the design program, and my BFA project was a magazine that I ended up producing for 6 years after I graduated. And there was many nights I was, laying it out the day before it was going to press, and we had some of the best times doing that. And again, the other thing is, which is a little harder now, but find a group of people that you want to work with, because that makes it 10 times easier. Even if even if they don't help you with the work, just having someone to go through it with is key.
If I could add one thing, I would say something that I've learned is kind of test what you can get away with, especially with school being online. Like, I know I'm always kind of working on stuff when I'm in class, and maybe that's not what Shane wants to hear, but it's true. Like, if you're going to be a hustler, then you need to know kind of how to push yourself, but also know your boundaries. So I don't know. I'm always on that grind. So I think the people who kind of show signs that they're going to get far, the people who kind of understand that early and know that school isn't everything, and kind of get on top of that like pretty early. Yeah.
Yeah, I two things. One is exactly that hey, I'm recording all my classes, so if it's about time management, they're recorded. Uh, and I have office hours for a reason. If you're not, if you if something, the thing is, one of my experiences and one of the things I tell all the people I advise is, you get 10 times more out of the stuff that happens outside of class than you do in class. Like in class, we're trying to prepare you, give you the background, giving you the tools, giving you everything you need. But I was part of student government, and I did some of my best work ever for student government, whether it was logos, event posters, and stuff like that. I was part of the Avenue, which was the journal of the AAA that led to my career for 6 years. So, those are the things, the people that you meet, the stuff that you do that will be not more influential, but as influential as to what you do coming out of the program, and help you find where you want to go. Because I guess that's the other thing that's nice about side hustles, is it allows you to explore things without a huge cost, as far as like, if it's something you're passionate about, you'll like to do it, so you'll be willing to put the time into it. But you can see like, oh, do I like to do this thing, or is this fashion or clothing is a great example of like, that's a pretty it can be a pretty niche industry and a pretty kind of focused thing. And so if you like it, great. If not, then you haven't, wasted your first internship or something, another opportunity that could be driving that. So exploring things that you might be interested in, and tasting things, as Gary Vaynerchuk says, to at this point in your life, is the best way to find out what direction you want to go.
Again, such a helpful segue into our next question. Thank you so much to everyone. We would love to kind of ask each person what is something that they're super proud of that they've done. With Late Bloomer, maybe it's some of the actual clothing pieces. With the indoor recesses, maybe it's part of the campaigns, but just to sort of tell everyone a little bit more about something you're really proud of. I'm going to pick Gustavo because I'm seeing nods.
I'm always nodding. Yeah, I can definitely share my screen if that's cool. I can show you some of the stuff we did for MAPE this summer. So I'm going to share my screen. Sorry, just a sec. Okay, cool. So, ta-da, this is my website. I need to update it, but so these first two campaigns are what are a result of MAPE this summer. I don't know which one I should walk through. Let's go through this one, because this one won me $1,000. Woo! That's what you get when you work hard. So this summer, at the end of my MAPE kind of journey, we were tasked to kind of get into groups and put together a campaign. This one was given by the agency Digitas. So what they asked us was to create meaningful technology that would help society adapt and navigate the new abnormal with COVID and kind of this sort of racial turmoil going on. And the outcome was this, which is called Reclaimed. It is kind of an app that just reclaims the different narratives, especially focus on like Black stories, because living kind of in a white world creates kind of distorted stories for people of color, especially Black folks. So we kind of wanted to focus on that and give some light to just their stories and tell them as authentically as possible. So this is kind of just a little bit of the interface of the app, and this is the book. So funny enough, I was actually a copywriter on this team because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do copywriting or art direction, but we did this whole thing. Oh, sorry, I'm going way too fast. But yeah, I was a copywriter, but we had a week deadline. So we put this together super, super quick. And I was able to help out with some of the visuals as well. So it was really great working in a large team and kind of collaborating. I think that's one of the spaces that I kind of really come to life. Yeah, our strategy, we wanted to show people how their present is a part of the past as well. I'll go through a little bit faster. But yeah, here's just some more from the app. Going over kind of some really popular history, like from the civil rights, things like that. We wanted to do kind of like make it a sort of mobile journey where you could kind of go actually visit places in your areas. Yeah, the judges seem to really like this one, and they kind of told us that we should make it into an app, which would be really awesome, but I don't have the time for that right now. So someone wants to hop on that with me later, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I can share just that one for now. Lots of fun.
That was amazing. Thank you. I'm not surprised you won. Does maybe Lizzie, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So I'm gonna share my screen really quick. Let's see if I can get it up. Okay. So the brand was like Twitch, but it was specifically for Minecraft. So I'll just show the deck. The deck I think was really cool. I got to work with a really good designer, or two really good designers. The one who did the main building of this deck goes to VCU Brand Center, so really fun connection to make, and he's really, really talented. So it's kind of hard to explain like the whole thing because it's a really long deck, but like essentially Twitch is gonna drop a game where you're competing in Minecraft, which is kind of weird because Minecraft isn't really a game you compete in. It's more about like building your little world. So I got to work with a really fun strategist on this. It took us definitely, like, as we kind of talked about like passion projects and stuff, like you're willing to stay up. I stayed up with her until like 4 a.m. finishing the brief for this project, so that we could get it. So our creatives had, because Indoor Recess is also like a 2-week long project, so it's really fast. So we worked on the brief for the first week, and doing the brief did take a really long time. And as Mo, I'm sure, can attest to, you want that brief earlier rather than later, because I know her team didn't get it to her as easy. So we thought of this idea called the block party, where people could like hang out beforehand, and we like thought of all these fun ideas for it, like having Y2K on it and like all of this crazy stuff. We also created like, a lot of these things are kind of hard to explain without going fully into detail, but we made these little like filters for Instagram to like promote it. And what else did we do? Oh, we made Discord emotes, which were really fun. My team had a Discord server going so that we could learn more about the app. And then we also got to use these in our server, which was really cool. Anytime we were congratulating each other, we would use these. So you can kind of read this. This is like the main ideas and like what our creatives came up with. But I guess what I would say about this is as a strategist, you don't want to be too tied down to like ideas that you have initially, because when you kind of get boxed in, you don't produce as good of work. So like kind of like let go of those initial, you might think like we were like one of our strategists I worked with, she was like, oh my God, what if we did trading cards? And she got like kind of pigeonholed into that idea. So don't like set really hard boundaries when you're doing your first research. Like, I don't know, just like keep an open mind like all the time through your research and let the creatives do what they're going to do, because our creatives were really great. And this was like a fun project. Some of the feedback we got was super, super harsh on it, even though I thought it was great. But I mean, it's really good to get that feedback. And they had a lot of feedback, which was really nice. It was nice to get more than I thought we would. I thought it would just be like little comments, but all of the judges went pretty in depth on like what they thought we could have done better, what we could have done worse, etc. So that's the deck.
Would you say, I had a quick question on that. Would you say that the feedback you got during this program was different than feedback you've received in the SOJC? Because I recently joined a club where I'm receiving a lot of intense feedback, and I realized that within the SOJC, we didn't really get that in-depth, super critical review. So I was just wondering what your experience was like with that feedback.
Yeah, I would say their feedback was like much harsher than anything else I'd really ever gotten on anything. I think part of it was that when you're turning things in the SOJC is you're kind of turning it in to maybe 2 or 3 people, maybe your professor, your GE, and they're really the only ones looking at it. With this one, there was multiple strategists looking at it. There was multiple copywriters and there were multiple designers looking at it, and they all like wrote pretty like long like comments. Not that they had like a ton of time to do it, but there was just so many of them looking at it that they all had like a lot to say about it. Like I can't remember. I didn't read all of it. I mean, I read most of it, but I can't like recall all of it off the top of my head. But I would say their feedback was a lot harsher, and because they work in the real world, they were kind of harder on us, they said. And that's kind of what Indoor Recess like told us too before we even got our feedback back, was they were like, keep in mind these people like don't work with students that often, so they might not be fully like, they might not be like as nice about it or as like kind in giving the feedback. So yeah.
If I could add something real quick to that. So I did Indoor Recess too, and I totally agree that feedback was so harsh. I was not prepared for that. Like I had not experienced anything like that in the SOJC thus far.
It was bad.
But I think I really appreciate it because I like when people are just straight up with me, and it was super helpful. I think it also kind of hurt because short deadlines, you're kind of throwing so much of yourself into it so quickly. And when you have a 2-week deadline like we did, like spending all those nights up late, you're just dedicating so much of yourself. So when anyone kind of goes at that, it definitely stings, but it really does build you up, because I'm slightly better at kind of receiving that sort of feedback, but you have to get used to it first.
Thank you. I think that's really important.
I had a question about, so in terms of when you're working on these projects, what is like the worst hurdle that you've experienced and how did you overcome it?
Also, before we swap off, I think we forgot Late Bloomer. Can we see some of your guys' stuff too?
Just kidding.
We were just too excited. We're so thrilled.
You're right.
It's all good. I'm just gonna pull up what I have on my portfolio. We're kind of redoing our website right now. So there's just not much to show for that. 1 second. Can you guys see it? Okay, so this is what I have up on my portfolio. One of the things we did like most recently was we made these hats, like just took some like vintage like baseball team hats and just kind of like adapted them to say Late Bloomer. This was a cool one, like it did pretty well like sales wise. This one was like a pretty cool project that we worked on. We did it was about like a month ago at this point, a little over a month, but we wanted to like find a way, because like with Late Bloomer, we've always like wanted it to be like community oriented, like having like people involved and just like collaborating with people and stuff like that. And that's kind of hard to do right now, just like because a lot of what we make is like physical, so it's kind of hard to do that. So what we did was this thing called Community Garden, where we had 4 artists featured. And then we did like a little write-up about them, had their portfolios or whatever like they make on featured on our website, and did like a little Instagram post for them. So these are the 4 artists. Like Jing Li does photography, One Morning makes music, Jakai or like Katana Kai makes clothes, and Jasmine Jackson does a lot of videography, stuff like that. So we had a lot of that featured on. I don't know if you want to
They're
add.
still, I was just gonna say they're still on our website too. If you want to go check them out, there's links to all their work on there. One
Yeah.
Morning's really sick. One Morning's the only one that's not from U of O.
Yeah.
He makes some really, really cool electronic music. If you guys want to go check that out.
Yeah. This was like a little promo we did for like our first collection. It was just like a big drop that we did. Gustavo actually modeled in it, so there's a feature right there. But yeah, this was like, we were pretty proud of this one. It turned out really well as well. Here's some pictures from it. And then here's just like a little one-off photo shoot we did for like a feature in Luna Collective magazine. It's this like magazine based out in LA, and it was just like a fun little like boxing photo shoot we did. Jonathan Wrench, who went here last year, he graduated, did all the photography for it. Yeah. And then here, I think this is like one of the most proud moments that I had. We were able to do like a art installation over in Lawrence. We really wanted to talk about our mission and like how much clothing waste is like produced. And so for like a representation of that, we got like a bunch of clothes donated from like a bunch of friends, like people just like around UO and stuff like that, donated a bunch of clothes. And then we like pinned them up to a wall just kind of as a representation of how much like one person wastes of clothing per year. And then we like burned into the screens that we use the statistics. And then afterwards, we were able to like take all those clothes and donate them to the Eugene Mission. So it was just kind of like a fun like little cycle of just like another way to use clothes that like I guess people wouldn't like think of at first.
It was an interesting project just because we wanted to, like, we went into it, we're like, what's the best way we can visually represent our mission statement? That was our goal. Because we went into it, there was no prompt or anything. We just got the room for the week. And that's kind of what came out, was just this. I don't really think I would have changed anything. I mean, it really just represented visually exactly what we have as our mission. So
yeah. And that's all I have up on my portfolio right now, but we have some stuff coming up soon, some more drops and just like other things that we're working on in the next couple months. But yeah, just right now working on like a big rebrand and redesign of everything. So yeah.
I'll go a little bit. I took my portfolio down because I'm not applying for anything for a little while. I'm taking this year off just to work on late bloomer and photography stuff. So I don't have anything to show you guys. That's kind of boring, but I think like what's most exciting, like, or what I'm most proud of though, is I think like a lot of people, and not comparing or anything. I think like what sets me to where I am now is just the fact that I've had a lot of thoughts and ideas, and there's been a pretty short time between the thought and actually doing it. And I think that's like what I've learned is just like that's what like gets me to where I want to go, is like I just need to do it. And I think like it's really just as simple as that. And it's like obviously things are hard, but if you just set your mind to it and just do it, which is kind of what we've been doing, is like, we want to do an art installation, and we pinned up like 200 pounds of clothes on the wall. That was a lot of work, but we did it. Like we wanted to do house shows. We did a house concert at the Shelton McMurphy Johnson house. If you guys don't know what that is, that's the big like green mansion over kind of like by Buffalo Exchange. That's like up on the hill. That was really awesome. So just like kind of weird stuff like that, but like amongst everything, just being able to like do something I love and like really push it a lot farther than I anticipated at first. What does that say?
We were just hyping up the event.
Yeah. And like incorporating like visual stuff like that in the art installation was like so fun. Definitely hoping to do more of that in the next year.
We love to see it. So thank you everyone for showing some stuff. This was now the time we were thinking everyone else can start asking questions. You can put them in the chat, or if you want to say it out loud, just go for it. And yeah, take it away, anybody. Or
I
I'll
think
take it away, can.
I think I'm the most curious for everyone right now because it's like I don't know what everyone's year is in school, but I think the most, challenging thing right now is, are we all going to get a job at some point? So I'm curious what people's life looks like right now in the terms of finding their next step after leaving school. Like, are you going to stick with this side hustle as long as you can, or is this like the thing you hope to propel you into the career world?
I think I'd say like a little bit of both. Like I'd love to keep with late bloomer as much as possible, and I also kind of like see it as an avenue to kind of be in the next step. I don't really see myself like stopping it just because like being able to balance it with school is like one thing, and it'll be like another thing like being able to balance it with work. So just like kind of be learning how to like balance that. And I also kind of like view it right now as something that like, I mean, it'd be amazing, like ultimate goal, like for that to actually be my career. But I also like see it as a like way like taking that next step into finding a career, like a leveraging point of just something that I have done and that I'm super proud of, and like a way that I can show kind of who I am as like a designer or an art director. So a little bit of both.
I kind of want to add on to what Hunter said is like, it's like obviously ideal to be financially stable on the thing that you love. But we made the joke for like the last 2 years that we've been a nonprofit because that's pretty much how much money we've made. And mostly just because it all goes back into buying more clothes or buying more, any paint, whatever we need. So it's not like we're not necessarily losing money, but we're definitely not making money to go, out and have drinks. You know what I mean? So like there's that end of it, but like, yeah, definitely like balancing it with whether we want it to be our career really depends on the success. So it's like really how much we put into it. But I think I plan on balancing this with whatever else comes for as long as I can.
Totally. Junior or Liz, did you have thoughts on that? If not, that's okay too.
Yeah, so I really don't know like what even is going to happen with indoor recess next summer because it was started by students who graduated this summer. So I don't know if they plan on passing the torch or like what's going to happen next summer. I'm hoping to be part of MAPE, so I'm hoping to do that. So who knows, maybe if I have time to do something indoor recessy next summer, maybe then I'll do it. But for now, indoor recess, that chapter of my life is closed, but I'm still friends with all the people on my team for the most part. Some people on the team were not as cool, but I did get to meet some really cool people through it. So either way, indoor recess, great experience, but probably not something I'm going to pursue super hard going forward, but it's fun.
Yeah, for me, so for MAPE, I'm applying again this year. The application's due like 13th of November. I'm almost done with that. So I'll probably do that again this year. But I think the really cool thing about MAPE is that once you're kind of out of it, you're still part of the kind of alumni community, and we take care of each other so much. Like in the industry, like we have each other's back. Like if you're part of the community, like you're not leaving. You're kind of stuck with that family. So I think that's a really great kind of aspect of that program. Another thing is that like I think as people we can always work on our allyship, and kind of something for me that I really care about is sort of uplifting people around me, especially BIPOC. So hopefully when like I'm older, I can volunteer to be a part of MAPE and kind of interviewing people because there's an interview process. Like talent acquisition stuff is really interesting to me. So I think maybe like if I retire the advertising industry, or when I'm too crude and tired and worn out of it, I think that could be something that I could go into. But yeah, for everyone, I'd say just always kind of work on helping the person next to you and really kind of acknowledging where we're at in this world and who kind of gets the lights on them and who kind of gets ignored, and kind of really try to find that equity is super important.
Thank you
So,
guys.
yeah, and
Oh, sorry.
just as kind of a old story that I started with the ASUO met my business partner. We ended up opening up an art gallery and doing a magazine right after school. The art gallery ended up, again, it was a nonprofit basically, but because we had the magazine, we did in trade advertising, so we ate very well. So think of ways to partner with things to keep your, if you can, I ended up then doing, through the magazine, I started working at a graphic design firm that we had partnered with to do covers and stuff, and ended up that he had an apartment for rent. So the thing is, I think always kind of be looking where you want to go, but also be open to like the things you're doing will lead you to where you need to be. And again, that, Gustav, when you get tired of the agency industry world, come back and teach. But the thing is, if you enjoy what you're doing, then again, the journey will always be fun. And there's side hustle, side hustles or pay the bills hustles aren't as bad if you have something that you can do after hours that is the thing you enjoy. So again, my thing was, student government to art gallery to a magazine, which was my BFA project that again was a career for 10 years that led me to my design firm that turned into the advertising firm, which was another 20-year career, and then led me back to education. So keep your eyes on the horizon, but don't again, it will happen. Do good work and it will happen.
Hi, so I am a current freshman here at the UO, and I've been meaning to get more into design and learn more about design. And for me, it's been pretty difficult to find people to collaborate with and I guess work with and learn from, and because of COVID. And so my question is how are you all sort of managing and dealing with that if you're looking or if you're looking and working with people and stuff?
Wow, that's like a really hard one. Every time freshmen say something, I just think of another layer of their year that's so much harder than my year. I would say, I mean, props to you for coming to a club like this. Keep going to that stuff. I know it's really hard to talk to people after class when the Zoom ends. But if you hear somebody say something you like, try to get in contact with them. I think it is really hard, freshman year to get friends online. I can't imagine really what that is like. But I would say keep doing things online as best you can. And I don't know, reach out to your professors and see if they'll connect you. If you tell, I know you may not have taken an actual design class yet because you're a freshman, but I would say reach out to any of these professors on here right now. Reach out to Deb and be like, hey, I'm a freshman and I want to do more stuff. I can assure you she'll put you in contact with some people who want to do side projects.
Are you, Elliot, are you part of the ARC by any chance?
Yeah, I'm part of the Media Social Action ARC.
Yeah, okay. So Derek is your advisor, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so tell him to put you in contact with me or Steven or Deb, and we will get you hooked up to something. This is coming to this group is a great group. This is where, where we hope to provide that connection. Again, it's navigating this Zoom COVID world is a little trickier than just saying, oh, show up in this room at this time, these people will love you, or you'll love these people. But this is definitely something to keep coming to. And then the other thing I would say is student groups are a great opportunity because you can go to them and they'll need a poster for something or an Instagram ad or something. And so it's a great way to kind of help something that you're interested, help them further their stuff. So I would definitely recommend student groups. And again, that's something that you can create networks that will then lead to other things.
Thank you so much.
I want to add on to that real quick. I think I think Hunter's doing something right now that's really cool. He's just like, he started a design page like a few months ago, and he's just doing like a poster every time he gets some free time. I think like starting something like that, like I've been doing similar things with video on the side, just like doing something that like makes you happy as a designer or an artist or a copyright. It doesn't matter what it is, just doing something that's not for anyone in general, I think is important. It doesn't have to be posted, just as long as you're kind of like working your brain and like doing and like shaping what you think your voice is and what your image is.
Yeah, to add on to that, like kind of on a different note, actually, I mean, I'll say the design page is like, it's been super fun, just like being able to find my own voice and like, just like kind of express myself how I want to. Um, but kind of as far as Lizzie was saying, I'm not in your shoes, like being a freshman, I'm sure it's so hard, like reaching out to people. But like, I'm super shy and like get nervous in social situations, but like just over the last year, like I've really found that people are a lot nicer than you think. And I'm sure like other freshmen are in your position right now. So like reaching out to someone like online or like after Zoom or just like finding their Instagram or whatever, like it may seem like nerve wracking, but I'm sure that would like mean a ton to the person you reach out to also, and you just like that like simple moment, like you don't know what's going to come from it. And yeah, I mean, like people are just a lot nicer than you would think.
Yeah, I used to get so fucking nervous talking to people when I first transferred to U of L. I mean, like it's just a matter of like getting over that and just realizing like they were in the same shoes as you. So I mean, relatively. I mean, everyone's there's gonna be people there's gonna be people that are dicks, and that's just the way it is. But like if you reach out to enough people, you can get rid of those people and then find your people.
Especially in something like within the SOJC, like no matter what your specific major is, like just like creative people in any capacity, I feel like are interested in like other people, and want like to learn and like make experiences with other people.
The whole Zoom meeting lit up when you said you were a freshman. I mean, that should tell you everything. Everyone wants to help you.
Amen to that.
Another thing that I would say is wait, what was I gonna say? Oh, there's like prompts you can write to. Like I know the Rome just released one. And I know sometimes it can be really hard to like when people are like, oh, just like make something. Having like a prompt to work off of can be really, really helpful. And I would say don't be afraid to talk in class, because like I know it's really scary for me. It's even scary for me to like talk in Zooms. Like when I was like going through the deck, I could like hear my voice shaking. So like don't be afraid to like talk in class, even if you're afraid of like making a fool out of yourself. And also just like submit your workplaces. Like I mean, like if you don't want to, that's cool too, but it's never a bad thing to get feedback from people. So even early on.
There's also you'll eventually, if not already, be added to the UO AdFam emails, and those have opportunities all the time. So if you just actually read those and reach out to who Deb puts in there, it can be super helpful. And we do have a HBO rep coming in 5 minutes, give out a free prize. But before that, does anyone from the panel have any last words? Just any advice, any way anyone could reach out to you and maybe collaborate with you? All the things.
Yeah, so we were gonna do this thing. So if you go to our Instagram and like give us a follow and then just shoot us a message with like any idea you have for a side project, if you have one already or if you don't, whatever, just something like that you're passionate about. Let me share my screen. And then tell us which of these t-shirts you want. We'll just like enter you all into like a raffle and just give one. Whatever size you want, whatever, like almost whatever color you want, right? Don't you think, Josh, for the base?
Yeah, we have pretty much everything.
Yeah. So.
Also, it can be like a side project, but also we'll answer questions if you have questions.
Just DM us.
Yep.
And, yeah.
It's gonna get so silent as we all write that out.
And I their merch, and it's all amazing. So everyone should enter because free would be great.
And all the shirts are recycled, right?
Yeah, everything's everything's recycled.
We didn't even like really say that. Yeah, so for those of you, I guess I'm so bad about that. We like I kind of assume for some reason that people know, but like, so what Late Bloomer is a conscious clothing initiative. That's what we say it is. So the goal is to create a community of conscious clothing consumers by using 100% repurposed and recycled materials. So all the pieces that we use are from, St. Vinny's or garage sales or eBay, wherever it is. It's a matter of taking it out of the system already that it's been put into, and taking nothing and new and putting it into the system, because there's already so much out there, and it ends up in waste, and that's our goal, is to keep it out.
Yeah, we're working on like just like making sure every step of the process, like aside from like what we actually like use to print on, like everything is sustainable. So
So very cool. If anyone wanted to reach out and connect on LinkedIn with all of you, is there any way you could put your LinkedIn in the chat or anything like that? Especially for our new friends like Elliot, we want to make sure we can get you connected.
I'll
My
drop my
LinkedIn's
link. I also, oh, yeah, I'll put mine in there, but I had kind of like a little tip or just like kind of words of wisdom, something that I would say for myself and something that kind of has gotten me to where I am and where it's going to keep me going is kind of learning that you don't need to. I said this on the After Hours podcast, but kind of realizing that you don't need permission from anybody. You really don't. For so much of my life, I waited for people and I needed approval. But I'm on my grind now and I'm doing pretty well. So I think it works. So I think y'all should try that if you are kind of not there yet.
Yeah, like going off of what Gustavo just said, like I think I've had like these realizations more recently, is like going off of what I said earlier, just a matter of like doing things. Like you'd be surprised, you kind of sit back and look and like see like other people that are successful, and you're like, wow, like, they're just, I don't know, no one like asked them to do it and no one said they could do it. It's just a matter of doing it. It's a really weird thing to like get over, the concept that you have to be like something to create something. Like you just are who you are and you just do it. So yeah, I really like that advice.
And I think that's going to be no more truer than the world you guys go off into from school. Like the opportunity, like there's a lot of doom and gloom out there, and there's a lot of challenges that we all need to work on. But it also means the opportunities are greater than they've probably ever been. And I was graduated in the last recession, or the recession 2 times ago, and the job forecasts were awful in design and advertising and stuff. And so we just decided to do our own thing, and that was, like I said, that was the best thing we could have done, because it led to all the things that I ended up wanting to do, finding the mother of my child and a whole bunch of other things. So again, if you're doing what you're enjoying, you'll find the right path.
And on that note, Isabel, would you like to do a little promo for HBO and your position with them? Welcome.
Hi guys, my name's Isabel. So this year I am a brand ambassador for HBO. So I just wanted to stop in and give you guys a link to a free trial that you guys can use whenever, and I'll put that in the chat. And basically HBO Max is just a streaming service through HBO. So you can watch a bunch of HBO originals. I'm sure you guys have heard of Euphoria, but we also have Friends. We have all The Bachelorette. So if you want to catch up on that before the new season. And then we also have a bunch of movies like La La Land, the whole DC series, and also some spooky movies for Halloween. We have It, The Invisible Man, and Us. So if you guys want to check that out, I'm putting the link in there. Yeah, so hopefully everyone can get that. There's some free episodes you can watch and also a free trial. So yeah, thank you guys so much for having me.
And before you run, we'd also just really fast love to hear, how did you get this position? How'd you find it? Because this whole workshop has been about finding stuff outside the classroom.
Yeah, so I actually found it on Handshake. It was up there for a really short amount of time. I applied to it and then they called me through there. But it is through Riddle and Bloom. So if any of you guys are interested with working with brands, Riddle and Bloom is a really awesome resource. You can go to their website. I know they work with like Amazon. I feel like they work with LaCroix, Coca-Cola. So any brands that you want to work with, they work with a lot to connect them with millennials. So definitely check them out.
Awesome, thank you. So everyone copy down that link while you have it. And if no one else has any other questions, I think we'll wrap it up for the night. But thank you all for coming. Thank you to everyone on the panel. That was amazing. We love you all. We're listening all your faces. So this was great. gave me my serotonin boost for the week. So thank you. And we will see you all. We have another workshop in 2 weeks. So hopefully see you there.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you.
y'all.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Yep.
Bye.
No time.
Cool. You all rock. Thank you.